everyone, we're going to do a little math. Is super fun for the morning. Okay? Get us pumped up for math. Today we're going to talk about lessons 6 and 7 in your book. Okay? And the main concept, what we really want to learn here is what it means to get the reciprocal of a number, big word, and how that relates to dividing fractions. Okay, so we're going to look at the key concept for doing that. All right. So in your book, they have one of those nice little boxes, and it says finding reciprocals. Basically, if you look at what they're doing right here, saying 3 divided by 1/2, okay? The problem is you cannot divide fractions, really. So you have to change a number. They say that 3 divided by 1/2 is actually equal to 3 times 2. Now, where are they getting this number from? Okay? They take the number 3, that always stays the same. You cannot divide fractions, so that becomes a multiplication. And basically, the 1/2, the 1/2, we have turned that fraction over and made it 2/1. So when you say 3 divided by 1/2, it equals 3 times 2/1, which equals 6/1, which equals 6. Okay? So the book gives reference to that right at the beginning. So let's look at what a reciprocal of a number. Some people just call it the flip-flop, okay? You just flip it. And that's an easier way to remember it. So if my fraction is 2/3 and I need to find the reciprocal of 2/3, I flip it, okay? Just like if I was flipping a coin. The 3 becomes the numerator and the 2 becomes the denominator. Yes, it's improper, and that's fine when we're dividing fractions, okay? So try to find the reciprocal of this, let's say 7/8, okay? Find the reciprocal of that, and find the reciprocal of the whole number 10, okay? Reciprocal of 7/8 is simply 8/7. All we do is flip-flop. What to remember about a whole number is really that's 10/1. So the reciprocal of 10 is 1/10. Okay? When you divide fractions, okay, it's a little different because you cannot really straight out divide them. You cannot say 2/3 divided by 6/9. You can't do it. That what they want you to do is change the sign and flip this fraction. So you write a new problem. If you have, I'm going to erase this a little bit. If you are given 2/3 divided by 6/9, okay, you have to rewrite the problem. The 2/3 stays the same. That is not getting changed. But we said you cannot divide. The sign gets changed from division to multiplication. Lastly, this has to get flipped like a coin. It's no longer 6/9. 6 becomes the denominator, 9 is the numerator. Now you can solve it. We know that the best way to do this right now is to simplify. These two are compatible. Let's divide them both by 2. Okay. Even better, these two are compatible. Let's divide them by 3. We now have a really simple problem on our hands. 1 times 3 over 1 times 3 equals 3/3, which equals the whole number 1. Okay? Not all of your problems are going to have all these steps, but you have to remember that you have to change the sign and flip the number. This is the main concept in this whole chapter and the next chapter. So what you have one of those concept boxes in your book, okay? It's on page 307. And it says divide by a fraction. They are showing you 5 divided by 2/3, okay? Remember, really, a whole number is 5 over 1. As a reminder, you cannot divide. So we are going to, I'm going to take that off for you. We are going to keep the first fraction the same always. So you have 5 over 1 stays. You can't divide. It becomes a multiplication problem. And you take the reciprocal, 3 over 2. What you are left, okay, with is 15 over 2 because you're just multiplying them, which, as you know, becomes 7.5. Because of that, you can't leave it in proper fractions, so that is that. Okay, let's try 1 or 2 more of those just to be sure that we've got it. Whoops. When we divide fractions, we change the operation from division to multiplication and flip the second fraction, which means we find the reciprocal. Okay, so let's do a couple problems just to, let's say 3 divided by, let's say 5 over, let's say 6 over 7. And our second problem, these are kind of from lesson 6. Let's say our second problem, we're going to go 2 over 5 divided by the whole number 10. Okay? Remember, going back here, we have to say that 3 is 3 over 1. Okay? This fraction stays the same. I'm rewriting the problem. 3 over 1 can't happen with division. Multiply. You have to flip this. 7 becomes the numerator, 6 becomes the denominator. We have a new problem on our hands, okay? These two are compatible. Divide by 3, divide by 3. 7 over 2, which we know is really 2 into 7. Our answer is 3 1/2, okay? So hopefully you got that. For the second problem, it's much the same. 10 is 10 over 1, okay? 2/5 remains the same. This gets crossed out. This gets flipped to 1/10. You'll notice that 2 and 10 are compatible. Divided by 2, divided by 2. Your answer is 1 over 25. Okay? Should be pretty, remember, everything in math is a pattern. We're doing the same thing every time we divide fractions. Okay? So, if we're doing the same thing every single time we divide fractions, okay, then the pattern stays the same. The pattern says the first fraction stays the same. We change the sign because you cannot divide. And we flip this number around. so that it becomes 11 over 10. Now we check for compatibility. 5 and 10 are compatible. Divide by the greatest common factor, 5. That becomes a 2. Your answer is 11 over 14. That is simplified. It can't be reduced. Okay, so let's have you practice some problems. You probably need a scrap piece of paper or a Post-it. And please solve these next few problems. Number 1, 7 divided by 14 over 15. Number 2, 3/5 divided by 3 over 8. And number 3, let's say 2, hold on, sorry. Let's clean that up a little bit. Number 3, we're going to say 6/7 divided by 5/6. Okay? Let's take a minute to work on those. Do number 1. Hopefully you started out in this way. So the answer to number 1 is 7.5. Number 2, 3/5 stays the same. Have to change that sign. And then when you change that sign, this gets flipped. 8 becomes the numerator. 3 becomes the denominator. We have compatible numbers here. Come up with 8/5, which equals, remember that's going like this to solve it, 1 and 3 over 5. For the last problem, 6/7 remains the same. Must change the sign. Flip it. Check for compatible numbers. There is nothing compatible in all these numbers. So 36 over 35. You can't leave it like that. It's not simplified. 35 goes into 36 one time with 1 left over, and your denominator stays the same. So now what I would like you to do to wrap it up is to get started in the book. And you're going to want to go to page 306 and start the got it's on the bottom of page 306. There are a couple of boxes to fill in, and the got it's A, B, and C. You're just finding the reciprocal. Great job.